Hey guys, it's Peyton, and today I'm going to be talking about the books that I read in February. I read 6 books this month, so it was a pretty decent month for me, and they were kind of all over the place, a lot of different types of books, and a lot of different ratings, so I can't wait to talk about them right now with you guys. I guess I'll go ahead and start. The first book that I read was Tweet Cute by Emma Lord, and this book was actually sent to me by a lovely subscriber, Abby M, so thank you so much for getting me this book because I really enjoyed it. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 stars, and it was a super fun contemporary that literally made me so happy. This book is all about family restaurants, and if you don't know this about me, I always had that dream of being a part of a family restaurant, like my family owning a restaurant and just getting to eat all the food and everything. That sounds so fun. I'm sure the reality of that is not so fun, but I thought it would be so cool to read about this, and this was definitely one of my most anticipated reads of the year when I heard about it. Thankfully, it came out pretty early on in the year. We have two main characters, Pepper and Jack. Pepper's family owns a burger fast food place that is one of the biggest fast food places that there is currently, and her parents created it from the first restaurant to the freaking billions of them that there is now. And then our main character Jack, he also has two parents that are running a restaurant, but it's a local restaurant in New York City, and there's only one of them, so it's not a big chain fast food restaurant like Pepper's. And one day Jack realizes that Big League Burger, which is the burger fast food restaurant of Pepper's family, has completely stolen the recipe for their famous grilled cheese. And let me just tell you, this grilled cheese ends up being a whole fiasco. It's a big deal. His grandma made this grilled cheese. It's like her famous thing. There's a secret ingredient in everything. And over here we have Pepper's family trying to be Plankton and stealing it and selling it. So this ends up being a whole Twitter battle. Jack gets on his Twitter for the restaurant and freaking yells at them with snarky memes and stuff like that. And then Pepper, her mother, is forcing her to help the Twitter account. So she is sending some snarky messages back, and it's a whole Twitter freaking fight. Jack and Pepper actually go to school together, and they're currently talking on this online anonymous chat room that their high school has that Jack created. And they don't know that they're actually been talking to each other for months and like each other, but they also know each other in person because they're both, in the same grade, and they see each other all the time, and they don't really like each other that much. Just craziness ensues, and it's so cute. They're so cute together. They both are so snarky in their own way, and I just thought this was adorable, super fun. I think if you're a big contemporary lover, you should definitely check this book out. Obviously, I like fantasy more, but I still found a lot of enjoyment in this book, so highly recommend it for sure. The next book that I read was Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars as well. It's huge, and I listened to it on audiobook to make my life easier, And I was sent this by Penguin Teen for this promotion that they had going on, so that was really cool. I was excited about that, and I specifically had wanted this edition, and everybody was talking about Little Women because there was a new movie that came out, and apparently it's really amazing, and I can't wait to watch that. I really want to watch it now that I read the book. I just wanted to read it, and I heard the audiobook was super good. It's about 4 young girls. It's pretty much a coming-of-age story, but it primarily follows Jo, which is one of the sisters, obviously, and she's an aspiring writer in this is the 1800s, Civil War time period. Their father is in the war, and it's just them and their mother, and it's just their life, man. There's not much plot, to be honest. That's what I noticed from this. It's more just character relationships and what is going on in their lives, but there's not really much of a plot. That might be a critique I'm giving it, but I think if I read this physically, there would be moments where I would get bored, but since I was flying through it a little bit faster because of the audiobook, it was easier for me, so I definitely recommend listening to it if you feel like you could possibly get bored, because it is an old-timey written book, but it's still really good. I think it holds up well, and I think the author was way ahead of her time. It's a very feminist sort of read, in my opinion, and I just definitely think she had something going that nobody else did. It's supposed to be a children's book, too, so I think that's super cool, and you can tell that it was meant for readers that could be younger. Like, you can understand it. It's not crazy big words and stuff. Like, it's not, you can't understand it type of language. So I definitely think if you want to try a classic, maybe give this one a try. The next book that I read was actually a graphic novel, and that is Harleen by Stejepan Seljic. So butchered that, and I am sorry, but I actually gave this graphic novel 5 out of 5 stars. So my first 5 stars of the month. I loved this so much. You see this? This book is gorgeous. I love it so much. And if you don't know, Harleen is the origin story of Harley Quinn. Obviously, there's been many different goes at this, and I was specifically interested in this one. It's a bind up of 3 issues that came out, and it's a full volume, and I don't think there's gonna be any more. It would be cool if there was. But it's pretty much Harley Quinn's origin story, being a psychiatrist in Arkham Asylum, and one of her patients ends up being the Joker, and it follows her, who is greatly interested in psychopaths and like what happens in their brain that makes them be the way that they are. She ends up slowly falling in love with him and going crazy herself, and ends up being his sidekick. I kind of hate putting her as a sidekick, but you know, I think she's great in her own right, okay? She is definitely a villain, maybe anti-hero. If you watch Birds of Prey, which is what got me so hyped about this, and you can't see all of it, but in the corner, I have 4 Harley Quinn pops that I recently bought because I'm obsessed with the Birds of Prey movie. So if you're interested in that movie, I say go watch it, even if you're not. Like, it's so good. It's a feminist, amazing thing, and it's just hilarious, super fun. I just love the way that Margot Robbie does Harley Quinn. Like, it's just, it gets me going. I love crazy people. That sounds terrible, but I love researching them and everything, and I just think she's such a fun character to witness. So I couldn't help but want to read about her origin story, and this was really good because when you first hear about her basic story of like her falling in love with him, you're just like, how did a psychiatrist end up falling in love with him? Like, what happened? And in this graphic novel, it kind of made sense on what happened to her that actually made her fall in love with the Joker. She like slowly went crazy throughout this graphic novel, and I just think it was really well done. It wasn't just cookie cutter, like she was a psychiatrist and boom, she was in love with him as soon as she saw him. Like, no, it was not like that. It was not love at first sight, and that's what was really interesting about it, seeing their interactions with each other. I just think it was so cool. The artwork was really pretty as well. Let me find a pretty thing. Here's one of the covers that was for one of the issues, but oh, that's so pretty. I love that drawing. I just think the storytelling of this was really phenomenal, and he illustrated and wrote it. I think that's super cool. So if you're interested at all in Harley Quinn, I think you might like this. The next book that I read was The Hunger Games by Suzanne Collins. I read this for my Hunger Games read-along that I am hosting with a few other booktubers, and actually by the time that this video is being filmed, we had to push back our original live show date to March 14th, and it's going to be on Avery Loves Books channel. We're going to be talking about The Hunger Games, the first book, and on my channel, eventually, we're gonna have the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes live show on my channel, and we're spreading it out. We each get a live show on one of our channels, and obviously, this is one of my favorite books of all time. I love the Hunger Games trilogy, and I have made so many videos about it, and I've discussed it so much. So, obviously, this was a 5 out of 5 stars. Love it to death. I actually, for the first time, listened to the audiobook, which was super fun. It was like I was watching the movie, but the complete book version of the movie, because I was listening to it, and anything that was cut out of the movie, I had it in the book. So it was just so cool. I am trying to debate whether or not I'm going to listen to the rest of them on audiobook, because I just really enjoyed it. I would drive to school while listening to all these tributes killing each other, and I was just like, oh my god! It was so fun. Like, I had such a good time. I could just be doing something else and then listening to my favorite book, like, ever. Actually, Catching Fire is probably my favorite book ever, but it's a close pick between the first and second book. But I'm not going to talk too much about it because y'all probably know what it's about and we know I love it. So the next book that I read was The Guinevere Deception by Kirsten White. I give this book a 3 out of 5 stars. I really wanted to love this book more than I did. It was still interesting and I am intrigued enough to read the second book whenever that comes out. This book is a King Arthur retelling sort of thing. The main character is Guinevere, but she's actually not Guinevere. Guinevere is dead and she has taken the place as Guinevere, and she's actually the daughter of Merlin. And Merlin has actually been banished from Camelot because magic has been banned in Camelot. You're not allowed to be magical. It's a bad little thing for some reason. Merlin thinks Arthur is in danger and Arthur's actually in on this. He's like, okay, I will marry fake Guinevere so she can have her magical little shit and keep me safe from whatever's trying to kill me right now. So that's pretty much the premise of this. It's her trying to protect him, trying to get feelings for him. I think the rest of the series might be gay. I don't know if it's a duology or whatever, but towards the end we meet a character and it seems like it's going to be gay in the future, which is what I was excited about for this series. I heard this book was gay and it seems like the later books will be gay. So I just gotta wait. Mostly, I just felt like nothing was happening in this book, but I was still intrigued to see what was going on because everybody was acting like there was this huge plot twist at the end or just something crazy that happens, and I didn't really feel like that happened other than the fact that character that got introduced that might make the story gay. I would like that, but the rest of the book was pretty underwhelming, to be honest. I still enjoyed it, but it was 3 stars, so it's just average for me. I am intrigued to see what comes next out of this series, but wasn't too impressed. The next book that I read was Alice's Adventures in Wonderland by Lewis Carroll. This book is so short and I was just like, oh my gosh, I'll just read this on the last day so I can have another book done. And I've been intrigued to read this for a while. I love the movie, the animated edition and the live action edition. I just think they're both so fun. I've loved them since I was a kid and I really wanted to love this book, but honestly I ended up giving this book a 2 out of 5 stars. Pretty much the entire time I was reading this, I was just hoping for it to finish. I was just like, can this just be over by now? And that's not what I wanted. I wanted it to be one of those things that I got swept away and I couldn't even fathom the idea of it ending. Like, you know, I wanted it to be something I loved so much and something filled with quotes that I loved. But pretty much the only quote that I really like is, "How do you know I'm mad?" said Alice. "You must be," said the cat, "or you wouldn't have come here." I love the Cheshire cat. I can't even say that right. Cheshire. I don't know. The cat is my favorite part and he was just as weird and kind of cool in the book, so I will give it that. I just thought this book was pretty underwhelming. I'm really sad about it. I knew Brittany from Brittany and Books didn't like it, but I was hoping I would feel differently. And I know a lot of people love this book. If you love it, it's totally fine. I'm happy you do. I wish I did. I just thought it was really weird. I know it's supposed to be weird, but it was weird to the level where it was like, what the heck? Like, I don't even see the point of what is going on. Like, what? Towards the beginning, I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly like the animated movie. I don't know why I thought they would be really different, but it was so similar, which was cool. There was a few different things that I thought were really weird. Maybe it's because I didn't grow up knowing about the other weird things that were in this book, so I couldn't just turn a blind eye to it like the other weird stuff that were in the movie that like I was used to at this point in my life. Because I made my boyfriend watch the animated movie and he was just like hating it so much. He was just like, what the frick is this? He liked the live action one though, because I feel like that one gives it more of a plot so you can enjoy it more. But you have to watch the animated one to watch that one, I feel, to understand everything. So pretty much this was a flop. Sorry, Lewis Carroll. I know you're probably howling in your grave right now. Rest in peace. But I just didn't like it. So that is all the books that I read. Let me know if you read any of these books and if you liked them, you hated them, don't really know what you're feeling about them, or if you want to read them. Like this video, comment down below. Have a good day. Please subscribe. Make sure to follow all my social medias, which are linked down below, and go click the bell button, which is right by the subscribe button that you should have already clicked, and goodbye.